friend Harold the artwork and crap. You can see more of me posting these overlays from the past. Awesome. But really,
I can't hear you over the music.
Hear you over the music.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I can always turn up my let me turn my gain up some more. All right, there we go. All right, we got a lot of volume now. We should be cooking.
So the subscribers can see the countdown. Can they hear the music?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna go on there and I'm about to mute this now. So.
Okay.
All right. We are live in this thing, man.
Good morning. Good morning.
I think your volume is a little low, or maybe it's me. Let me see. I just want to make
How
sure.
about now?
What you say?
How about now?
Yeah, I think you're good. You can turn your gain up, I mean, as much as you want to, since you're a little farther back from the mic. And that should help us out too. If it get to be like where like you sound like you're super loud, I'll turn it down. I forgot we're live on Twitter too. So
Oh, wow.
I was wondering like where all these people was coming from. So, oh yeah, they on Twitter. But y'all, welcome back to. We don't even figure out what this segment is called yet. I mean, it's an extension of the textual talk. And let me talk to y'all. All right, there we go. Until I change my setup again. But it's an extension of the textual talk, and Destiny is our co-host here. And what we do is we just break everything down, but we give it to y'all real. So I know Destiny want to kind of start off with. I know last time we met and saw y'all, she hadn't seen Mea Culpa yet. So we want to briefly talk about what we think about Mea Culpa. So what you thought about it?
Um. Okay, so I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I think the best part for me was the typically with Tyler Perry, the beginning of the movies are really good, and then when you get to the end, I always feel like he like runs out of time. So like he's trying to hurry up and end the film, and the ending was not. It was trash. The ending was trash. The beginning was good. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it a 7.5. But Kelly ate that roll up. She ate it up. She
I'm
looked
giving it
good.
about a 4.
A 4.
They introduced the best friend that he's supposed to be so good friends with. Only had like 2 lines. What was the purpose of her being on the show?
She didn't have that many lines. There were a lot of characters that it was just like, what is happening with this? Like, I wish at the end that she would have got with the PI guy.
Me too. I thought that's what
Yeah.
was too. But so the best friend barely said nothing. The only thing she did was play Call of Duty with the man. Stupid stuff she was doing, like not calling her own Uber and just going back over there to the guy. It's like a whole bunch of it's stupid. Like I said, it's it's like a combination of a couple of 2 or 3 movies. Acrimony, When Love Fails, whatever the one is where the woman went to jail because she was talking to the young dude and her best friend's son or something like that.
Mm, I don't
That's
know
on
which the
Netflix.
one that is, but I know it made me think about uh, what is that movie by Tyler Perry? No, it made me it like the mom. His mom was acting like the lady from the Have and Have Nots.
See, I don't watch that show. I've never watched that show.
Well, they were on the same level. The mom in the Have and the Have Nots, and the mom in Mea Culpa for sure.
Yeah, I've never watched that, but I'm trying to see which topic did you want to touch on today? But actually, no, I'm going to give you the floor so you could talk about Love Is Blind because that's I know that's something you put on there, and that's not something I've been watching, so I'm gonna give you the stage.
Hot mess. My boy Clay, like you did not have to do my girl AD like that. Very disappointed in you, but also happy to see that your mom is a good woman. She has common sense, and the scene with his mom and his dad was amazing. So this season was better than the last season for me. The last season was kind of like jokey. It wasn't that good, but this season was good. There were some good hits. I didn't finish. I think I have like 2 more episodes to go, but obviously Clay and AD, they're the black couple. Um and he just was not standing her up at the aisle, smiling in her face while she's standing there, just cheesing so hard. And then when it's your turn to, say I do, you say I don't, and then you tell her, well, this doesn't mean we're over. It just was a mess. It was a hot mess. I can't wait to see what comes of him and what happens with him, and his character, because like typically the most hated people they kind of end up falling off. So I'm excited to see kind of what happens with him and AD. Hopefully, I heard she was still with him, so I haven't even been able to confirm that or look it up. But I did hear that they were still in items, so I need to do some more research about that to figure out what's going on there. And I'm actually ready to watch the reunion to see like what's actually happening right now between them in the flesh. Are they cool? Are they not cool? Are they on speaking terms? Are they together? Are they still engaged? Like what's going on there?
Yeah, I've just been seeing those names around on social media, but I have no idea who they are.
Yep.
Literally, I don't. I so you were watching Love Is Blind, and we started Shogun this week.
Okay. I heard about that. What network?
FX.
FX. Okay. What is it
But
about?
if you have Hulu, it's on Hulu. So I don't know what time period it takes place in Japan, but the catalyst of everything is this white guy. Well, I know Japan and the Portuguese. had like some type of relationship, but then I think another guy comes from Spain, and he kind of talks about, if people learn this like in world history, the different types of Christians, the Protestants, and I forgot the other ones. And he comes in, he's letting them know, hey, these guys that you think are like, these Christians and stuff that's supposed to be your friend, they're not your friend. They're trying to pretty much take over. And I think that happens. I think in episode 3, I kind of fell asleep because I was watching this stuff late at night after I'd been up all the time. But from the parts that I paid attention to, it was very good. Pacing, cinematography, attention to detail. I think the lead actor said like he had to make that the network had to make certain concessions for him to want to actually do the show. And so I'm gonna actually go read up on Shogun and be able to explain it to y'all better, but just know that. Oh, and let me go solo. Y'all know BMF is back.
Okay.
Episode 2 just dropped. Yeah, episode 2 just dropped. They got Neo and 2 Chains in there. And overall, I just watched BMF to like laugh, but it's a horribly written show because I mean they can't really make it true because all the stuff that happened with it. So it's kind of like, we're just gonna start making up stuff because the stuff that happens in BMF doesn't make sense at all. Like Terry trying to talk to somebody who is already married and has a kid on the way. Is that like it's a lot of crazy stuff that's happening in BMF. So it's not the best show I ever tell somebody to watch, but if you just want to laugh at like stupid stuff and be entertained with Lil Meat saying, I can't go get the groceries for my cousin. Like turn it into BMF.
It is the acting is so terrible for me. I can get jiggy with the storyline, but the acting is just not believable. Not from all the characters, but for a
Yeah.
majority of the characters that are on the show, like 2 Chains, like when me and my fiance were watching it, I was just sitting there like just talking about just trash about him the whole time. Like,
I don't know
when
why
is
they just didn't
he?
let him keep his dreads.
It just the acting was horrible. Like when they had Snoop Dogg on there last season, I feel like he did a good job. But like
Well,
all
Snoop
these
Dogg been in more movies
cameos,
too.
very true. You should have some sort of acting foundation because it's literally like anybody can get on the show. That's how it feels.
Yeah. The people that carry the show is Lucille, Charles, and really Da Vinci.
Oh, I love Charles. Any movie that he's in,
Why about Charles?
movie, TV show, anything, I'm watching it. He off the chain.
Speaking of, that's why I like him. He always play either like somebody who's trifling or a good father figure.
He do a good father always. What was
Is
that?
Lincoln Heights?
Heights. Yes, yes, such a good
I watched
show.
Lincoln Heights during the pandemic, so I definitely it was definitely pretty good. But then
And it
he
was
was go ahead.
what you about to say? And it was like it's such an old show, but it's still a good watch today.
Yeah, definitely. He and then because that's when Chadwick was on that show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then after that, I believe he was the son of like Denzel on Fences. So yeah. But before we get into like our first official topic, let me go ahead and play this ad real quick for our sponsor, and we'll be back. This video is being brought to you by Level Up in Tech. Even if you have no experience in cloud and computing, Level Up in Tech is here to help you get into the cloud. Now you may be asking yourself, why should I get in the cloud? Well, let me show you. So, a cloud computing engineer can make anywhere from $80,000 to $200,000 per year. While cloud computing will create almost 1 million new job demand for certain skills, one recent study predicted that there will be over 220,000 open cloud computing positions by 2025. Love Open Tech has a 6-step process to guarantee your success. Here are some reasons why you should choose Love Open Tech. And here are some of the things you will learn. You'll learn about server config and troubleshooting, the AWS cloud, infrastructure as code, scripting, containerization, and much, much more. You can check out many of their testimonials on their website, and they post testimonials on LinkedIn as well. Here's where some of the former students of Level 1 Tech work at, and articles you can see them in and hear their coaches. If you're ready to get your cloud career started, click the link in my bio to learn more about Level Up in Tech. This video is being brought to you by Level Up in Tech. I forgot I was going to loop. Let me take that loop off. There we go. All right, now we are back, man. Let me see if I can wake everybody up. There we go. I got to fix it to let me just do it like nonstop. But anyways, I think this first topic is a good one that you want to talk about because I know it was on your topic thing. And Maybe one day we'll have a producer so they can do this, so I don't have to fiddle with all this crap. So I know this is a one of contention for you. You were saying like everything is supposed to be all peaches and cream on all these day in the life videos, which is like, where the real day in the life videos at? Where people actually struggling and people getting on their nerves.
Yeah.
So take it away. Far as I guess what kind of has set you off with this one?
Well, because that's where I started, I guess, when I first kind of got, or was before I got into the industry, that is what those videos were what I was watching. So I was trying to figure out like what to expect. And then obviously, of course, watching those videos, you're under the impression that you are just every day is going to be a good day. Had breakfast, had lunch, went to the gym, did this, did that, took a long lunch, walked the dog. Like they're not actually talking about like how they in PowerShell fighting for their life. They're not talking about how the script keeps failing. They're not talking about how they don't understand, concepts. They are not talking about teammates who are not wanting to help them. They're not talking about what's actually happening in on when it comes to a day in the life. Of course, you don't, every day isn't a bad day. And I'm not saying every day is a rough day, but I am saying that I feel like there's a lack of transparency um, as to what actually happens in a day in the life, especially depending on your role. If you're a software engineer, that code isn't coding every time. Like it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. It's not as easy as, you snapping your fingers and it's done. Now it's lunchtime. So I feel like from that perspective, the people who are watching those videos are not being told and they're not seeing when that person is feeling vulnerable, when they're frustrated, when they can't figure something out. And obviously, with social media and sharing what you do on a day-to-day basis, they want things to be more they want things to be cute. They want things to be pretty. They don't really want to dive in and talk about when things are actually ugly, when things are hard, when you're frustrated, when you're crying. Like there will be situations that will push you and test you to your limits where you'll feel like, why am I doing this? Am I even supposed to be doing this? And because when you're starting out, um, you have to be patient with yourself and you have to be okay with not knowing. Even when you do get more experience in the field, you still have to be okay with not knowing. And that's not talked about in these day in the life videos. They're showing the soft life as a day in the life of them working. And it's just not realistic, especially starting out. When you start out, you might feel like you made the worst decision of your life because things don't make sense to you yet, but they will eventually begin to make sense, as you're working.
Nice, nice, nice. That's why I pride myself on having one of the few realest day to life videos on YouTube because people actually go through it and like, oh, thank you for this. It's so helpful. Like you don't know how many other videos I see somebody's working out or they're eating, but it's like, what do you actually do at work?
And you might not
And
even get lunch. Let's talk about that. You
right.
might not even get a lunch.
But I think it's a couple things. Some people don't know how to do it. I mean, I remember I did one. So I did technically like a day in my life when I used to go downtown and work, but it kind of was just like showing like the optics of like where I was going, like the new building and stuff like that. I couldn't really show much because one thing I hate about the office, you didn't have no personal space. Like, have you ever seen those open concept like desk plans where like everybody's machine is like this, so there's no dividers. I don't
Yep.
like spaces like that. So
That's
I
what
just feel like I have
most
no personal
companies
space.
have
So that's
to.
another reason I used to hate going to the office. But there are people that try to show it, but that material does not get a lot of love.
Yeah. Because people
Lifestyle
want to see
content.
they want to see the soft life. They want to see the good stuff. But let me preface this with saying, because I know how y'all like to pop off in the comments. Obviously, there are things that you can't show, due to confidentiality reasons with your employer, NDA, so on. I'm not saying get on here and tell us what line of the code didn't work, but I am saying be vulnerable and saying that you were struggling with code. Be vulnerable in saying that you were struggling with X, Y, and Z, and talk about how you got through it so that people can better understand. So, yeah, not saying share your screen and talk about actually what's going on, but be more transparent about things when they do get tough.
Yeah, I think some people may, some people can't. You just know how it is with your work and stuff like that. Like my episode is what 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old now, and I just at that time had learned how to edit, so I just had stuff blurred out on the screen, and I didn't really know how to do the voiceovers good. So I just was putting text on there, and it seemed to work. Like I showed just an investigation. I showed the meetings I would do with different like teams, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna keep it a beam with y'all. If y'all expecting me to go chase a lot of fires today, today wasn't it. I'd much rather it to be like this versus me actually having to chase a fire because like that means something bad is going on." So no, I'd agree with you. Like I think a lot of that content is slowly pivoting away. It used to do really good years ago on TikTok. I don't think it does the best that it used to do on there. Even YouTube is just now like kind of coming along with shorts, but people still go to TikTok to see like the good content. Let me move this thing over.
Yeah, we mostly see people getting ready for work. So their skincare routine, them packing their work bag, them doing everything but working.
Yeah, I know. I think that's the fun. I think I will say that's the mystique of it because people not knowing what they want to do. But I always tell like clients, hey, go find some real day in the life videos so you can see if whatever they're doing may interest you. And if it doesn't, then that's the real issue.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm in the wrong thing. I'm at banners. I need to go back to brand. What is on our hot topics list? Okay, so what made you want to talk about this one? Because you can give me some context. You didn't have a link for it. This one right here. Our security assessment's really worth it.
Remember when I sent you that LinkedIn post?
Oh, that was connected to this.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
seen this LinkedIn post. I think I actually have
I'm
it
gonna
pulled
open it
up.
up now so we can share the screen and I guess talk about it. Let's present. All right, tell me, can you see this?
Yes, I can. There we go.
Yeah, I remember
So
looking at this, but go ahead.
So he says cybersecurity maturity assessments are nonsense. They're not required by regulations or standards, yet they dominate cybersecurity practice. Why? Because they are profitable. Um, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can see it. But I do a lot of assessments, so I feel like I can speak on this topic very well. I feel like they are worth it, especially when it comes to giving a baseline. Now I feel like there should be some foundational things covered before you dive into the assessment. So I feel like, whoever the customer is, they should know what standards this is by, what guidelines this is backed by, what's it based off of, how did you come up with the things that are a part of the assessment. That should be explained. And then you should also be able to explain like whatever the deliverables are and what the customer can expect to receive. Now, one thing he talked about in a LinkedIn post was like the scoring, and I can't agree with that. I can agree with the fact that the scoring needs to be a little bit more defined, because if you give someone, let's say it's a scale of 1 through 5 and you give them a 3, like what does that actually mean? And a lot of the times customers are like, well, where do I stand compared to other companies and other organizations that are in my industry? And it's not apples for apples. It Everybody's environment is different, so that's a question that you do get a lot. I do think that they're worth it, especially being able to identify some things or even controls or recommendations that you didn't know about, because things are constantly changing so much. It does become tough to keep up with what's actually new and what new features you need to go in and implement or be aware of when it comes to the products that you're using. So I do think they're beneficial, very much so, especially when it comes to giving you a baseline. If you get an assessment done and you find out you don't have MFA established for all of your global admins, then that's a big step that you need to take and remediate, to strengthen your security posture. So it's just different things like that. I know that there's different ways you can go about it. Like the article talked about questionnaires and how questionnaires are boring. They can be boring, but what type of questions are you asking? What's the intent behind the questions? You have questionnaires that you can do where you're just talking with someone and saying, do you have MFA established? Do you have it for this role? Do you have um, how how are you connecting to X, Y, and Z? Um, do you have these break glass accounts? Do you have emergency access accounts? How are you storing the credentials? So it's just so much stuff that you can dive into when it comes to assessments. But outside of there just being questionnaires where you're having a conversation with the customer and you're writing down basically their responses, you can also run a script on their environment and get way more detail. So of course that's going to be more beneficial because it's you can tell me that you have MFA established, but the script is going to tell me if you have it established. So you have questionnaires, scripts, and then you also can do manual checks. So you're actually taking a look in their environment and seeing how they have things configured as well. So I feel like depending upon, which methods you use to conduct that assessment, and then also um, how you go about explaining the findings are a big piece in that. And I feel like a lot of the times people are getting assessments, but they are not necessarily understanding what the purpose of the assessment is. They know it's an assessment and they want to get that baseline, but they're not really diving in too deep with the understanding or even asking the appropriate questions on what is this supposed to help me do? Okay, now we're done with the assessment. What am I supposed to do with this? And that's also a part of the assessment. Like, what is the end goal for the customer? What are you giving them? It's obviously not an audit, it's an assessment. So yeah, that's those are my thoughts on it. I think that they are definitely worth it, especially so that you can have a baseline and you can gauge, what you need to do to continue to strengthen your security posture. And then I think some are even beneficial if you do them year over year so that you're able to see your progress or your lack of.
Yeah, you smoked that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have nothing to disagree with. I know from my end, every time you're dealing with an incident, you're like, why? Why? And these incidents don't even become widespread. It's just the stuff internally that's happening. And you're like, bruh, this could have been avoided.
Hmm.
But my guest and I yesterday were talking about how in his environment, there are some servers that the server owners do not want to put EDRs on. And we was like, why? I was like, I was going to take it something that actually happened to those servers, then you're going to have to. And those are the things that were, like I said, already probably previously brought up in the security assessment. And
Yep.
that's why I always tell people like most incidents are just negligence and risk acceptance at that point. That's
You
what I
would
said.
be you would be shocked at the stuff that they're, oh, we don't need to focus on that. Like, what? Who told you that you didn't need to focus on that? Like, you would just be amazed by the
Yeah.
amount of people who think they know it all.
Oh yeah, that's the big one right there. Know it alls. I want to. I think this is a good one, but we have a video that we were supposed to view. 26-minute mark. Okay, let me up that up real quick. Guys, we have a video that we were supposed to react to last time, and we ran into a lot of snafus. So I'm going to cue the video up in the background. Wow. Okay. Dude made it private. However, I know of a way to do this. He thought he was a smart man. So don't worry, guys. I'm working it through. If Destiny want to hold y'all over real quick, I know who to go to review all this stuff because he already touched on it, and there's nothing that guy can do about it.
I think that I'm going back to the assessment thing just because I have one more comment. I also think that you should make sure that you have the appropriate teams present for the assessment. A lot of the times when you're trying, especially if it's a questionnaire that you're doing and you get, you know, to the location or you get to the meeting and they're like, oh, well, we weren't able to get X, Y, and Z, but you know for a fact that X, Y, and Z needs to be there, then you're not setting yourself up for success. You're not able to get the accurate results because you don't know that information this person does. And if they're not here to give me the information that I need, then I can't accurately let you know where you stand. So that's another piece. But yeah, I do a lot of assessments. So I felt like that was a good topic to cover. And when I seen that post, I understood his side, but I didn't agree with it at all. But it was a really good post for sure. Especially to get your juices flowing and to get you kind of thinking about what is important.
Bet. So I found a workaround. Let me go back to presenting. Shout out to Tech G. I don't know him personally, but I was already made aware of the video we were supposed to review because this guy had reviewed some of it. And let me see how we look on the screens if I need to make it bigger or not. Okay, I think that's fine. So I'm going to let's react to it. This is where the cybersecurity is actually, boring come from. This guy over here, and we're just gonna listen to some of the stuff he got to say, and then we'll react to it. Let's go.
Anybody that's in cybersecurity, that is boring.
Coding phase had some comments about those of us working in cybersecurity, IT, or pretty much any job outside of coding. Now, give my disclaimer, I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer. That's not what I do. I posted in my community tab a video from a YouTuber named LS3. He is a coder, so it's a dude I interact with on YouTube quite often. He just started off his IT tech channel where he's into the whole programming and coding and all that. Like, that's his lane. So anytime people ask me about coding, that's not my lane. My lane is I mostly came up doing.
I'm gonna kind of skip past it. I don't care too much about your lane. But also, this kind of goes back into like one of my other episodes where people were talking about like coding or whatever. But if someone prefaces with one area being fun and the other one not being fun, that means they may have a ulterior motive. So let's see where he's talking at.
And the structures desk for a couple years, and then most.
Come on, bro, because I can only play like 60 seconds at a time anyway.
You can't make overabundance of jobs.
This is gonna turn out horrible because he's not letting them talk.
Cybersecurity. So we're going to go ahead and check it out, see what we're here talking about.
Test automation is boring, yes. Talking about that, I had another conversation. Getting to talk to people, it's amazing. The way how I think is completely different than a lot of people. I had another girl come in, we had a conversation this week, blah, 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 and she's telling me about she wants to do cybersecurity. I'm sorry to say to you guys, anybody that's in cybersecurity or thinking about cybersecurity, that shit is boring. That shit is the most boring job you could think of. Anything that has to do with IT, DevOps, cybersecurity, that shit is boring. And you're always going to need a company to come and give you a check.
You heard him.
Now, you see how asinine it is? You know how he knew this was stupid? Because the video is private now.
Because, the whole bucket, like the whole cybersecurity is not. It's not one thing. It's literally a bucket of different things that you can do. So it's insane to say that. And if he is saying that, I say that it's just not for him. It's just not for him. He couldn't figure it out. It wasn't fun to him. He didn't have a good time doing it.
That's not why. He's trying to sell something.
Oh my God. And that's the way you sell it? That's the way you go about selling it?
It's this is dirty macking, but for tech. Dirty teching. That's what it is, dirty teching. Let me see. Let's go back to it to see what else that he's gonna have to say. Let me see if I can bring him back to the stage. All right, let's see.
He says cybersecurity, DevOps, any of that stuff is pretty much boring. Now, like I just said in my opening monologue, I actually agree with them. I actually agree. The thing is, when it comes to cybersecurity, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of newbies, a lot of newbies into IT, they get their ideas about cybersecurity based off of what they see in TVs and movies. They might go watch what's a good IT cybersecurity movie? I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I don't know. Anyways, they'll think of some IT movie where you got somebody climbing, rappelling from the rafters, doing backflips over laser beams so that they can go into the data center, secretly plug some stuff up and put a network tap on something. Then they walk out in their suit and tie and they're back at the party like they're James Bond. Or they watch a movie of some hacker or some random IT person. They're sitting in this room with glowing LED lights all over the place, and they're just click clacking and typing away, yada yada yada, breaking into stuff in milliseconds. They think that's the life of the average IT person or the cybersecurity person. No, that's not the life of the average IT person. You know what the life of the average IT, I'm just going to say cybersecurity person or whatever. You know what the life of the average cybersecurity person is? You go to work, you log into your systems, you run your checks, put your reports together, go attend a stand-up meeting talking about whatever the heck happened on the network the night before, the shift before, and what all training that you got coming down. If you got to, do some type of company-wide training, got to do this, you got to do that. Go back to your desk. You got your systems up here on one monitor. You got your ticketing system over here. Another monitor, you got your SIEM system or your SIM system over here. Another monitor, you got some other system over here. You got Snort or something open over here. You got all these little systems. And then you got another system where you got Amazon, YouTube, Netflix, or whatever the heck it is that you're into looking at and surfing on the internet. Here's the thing. Out of all those monitors, which monitor do you think the average IT cybersecurity person is going to spend most of his or her time staring at? The majority of the time, they're going to be staring at the monitor that has YouTube videos on it. Or they're over there shopping on Amazon.
That is definitely not true. That is definitely not true. And I don't know much about. Okay, I had to add you back to the stage. I don't know what happened to you.
I don't know. Something froze, but I'm back.
Okay. Anyways, that's not true at all. I don't know much about Tech G. I will say, well, he's not wrong. There were times when I had jobs where I wasn't doing a lot of work, but that didn't mean it was boring. That just meant one or two things. We weren't properly alerting on things or just dead. And I'm always the person that's skeptic and say, hey, we ain't checking for the stuff we need to check with. So
I have had jobs that were boring to me, but I wouldn't say cybersecurity is boring at all. And he was talking about one role. Everybody doesn't do. It sounds like he was talking about working in the SOC. Everybody doesn't work in the SOC who works in cybersecurity. So,
yeah. But even then, though, like I said, most of the time, if they were going to say you were just watching YouTube, he's describing somebody that possibly works night shift.
Or yeah.
Because night shift, we know that the alert volume is low, but I mean, it can get busy unless you can just finesse your way to just do different things, which is quite possible as well. But everybody doesn't work out of a sim. Some people actually got projects they're working on. They're doing research, like especially if you're doing like security research or threat intel. Like that's pretty fun. Like a lot of those people know how to search the dark web, and they're going through there and they're trying to find things. They're looking at the report. So every week we begin like all these different vulnerabilities. Like, hey, we can see if this is an environment, this is an environment, this environment, and it's some environments where, hey, if you ain't drink your Red Bull that morning, you're gonna need it because it's a lot going on. Just like you was talking about the PowerShell thing.
I want to know what he's selling. So, okay, cybersecurity is boring. Okay. What are you saying it's not boring to do?
I think the what you call it, dude. I know Tech G sells stuff, but he's not talking about it in a bad way. It's oops. Where are you?
Me?
There we go.
No.
I'm getting the hang of this in real time. Let's go to if he's gonna let him talk some more.
The building. Next, we did videos. Checks were cool. Now, even though I was in the art type of way, so we can go out.
So I know what he did. He did the style of. So it's this one, and then he has this one. Where is it? Oh, this might be the good one. This actually might be a good topic.
Interest you in coding.
Might be a good topic. I'm putting on 1.5 because he be talking too much. That's not it. Bear with me, guys. It's the one that's talking about the checks are not boring. That's actually what I want to talk about. There we go.
Being an entrepreneur.
We're done with it. We'll come back to something else. But that dude, the video guys that we actually want to react to, the dude made the video private, and it's probably somewhere that that I want to really get on because I was a subscriber sent to me like, yo, I want you to react to that.
Yeah, and he gave us the minute marks too.
Yes, he was serious about 2016. And this is when he says this, and this. But I think that dude got a lot of pushback from it because he knew it was stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when you start thinking about just even the ways of everyday life, how cybersecurity is not boring. Like, okay, how we gonna stop AI? How we gonna make sure that the AI person is a real person and not somebody trying to do harm to somebody?
Yeah, somebody trying to steal 25 million from you.
Exactly. I think we'll move along to. So we were supposed to do that, so I went out of the order for that one. But I know this was a fun one because I definitely got funny stories about this. Where is it? Is this it? Yeah. Stop clicking on random links.
It's
So
stressing
what
me
makes
out.
what makes you say that?
Because relax. When you get an email, stop, look, and listen before you cross the street. Look to the left, look to the right, and then you move your feet. That's a song that I teach to kids when they're walking across the street so that they know how to look both ways. But that's what people need to do when they get these emails. Relax before you start clicking on things. Who is it from? If this is your work email, does your employer let you know that this is from somebody external? If it is from somebody external, move with caution. Are you expecting an email from this person? How do they even get your email address? Just calm down when you get emails. Calm down. I know we have a million a day, but before you go clicking on things, take a look at the email and see if it looks suspicious. Do you think it could be phishing? Even if you don't think it's phishing, report it as phishing. If it's not, it'll come back to you. But I feel like we are so in the phase of moving so quick, and it's not a good thing, especially because the end user is the weakest link in the organization. So if you aren't proceeding or moving cautiously, then you can be clicking on malware, then you can be exploiting vulnerabilities that are on your system, then you can be a victim of identity theft. Like there are so many different things that can happen from you just randomly clicking on links. Calm down. Stop, look, and listen before you cross the street. Look to the left, look to the right, and then you move your feet. And move your feet means, and then you start interacting with the email. Don't just start clicking on stuff. It's just not worth it.
Now, what's funny is I feel like that. Look to the left, look to the right, and you say, "What? Use your feet."
And then you move your feet.
Then you move your feet. I feel like that's gonna
Yeah.
be a sound. But yeah, most of the time you get the same. Everyone gets the same spam emails when people are trying to get into your Facebook. Hey, somebody just tried to log on here. The thing when they get you is sometimes you got to make sure when you check this out, are you fully awake? Because a friend of mine, she was explaining to me how I think 2 of her Facebook pages or something got hacked. I think she thought it was Facebook. She clicked it real fast out of panic. And before she knew it, they was in her account. And not only that, those same attackers kept changing the email and stuff, even after her working with like Meta. So it's really, I can say it's easier said than done, but
It
you
is.
just never know.
It is easier said than done, but you still have to think in your head, be cautious. I'm telling you this from experience. I fell for phishing campaigns, okay? I
Everybody
fell for
has.
them. Yes. So I know to slow down. Now I'm reporting it as phishing. I don't care what it is. It just looks suspicious. I think I told this story before when I got a gift card from Starbucks from work and I reported it as phishing because why would you be sending me a gift card and you ain't said there wasn't an announcement made? So it's better to report something that is a false positive than you to not report it, interact with it, and something happens to your account or something happens to your organization. Do you
I
want to be
agree.
the one that's responsible for that?
Yeah, as Cat Williams said in Friday After Next, don't be sorry, be careful.
He didn't say that.
He did say, "Don't be
He
sorry."
said, "Oh, be careful."
You're right. But we're trying to keep it PG since these good folks going to go to church later on. But side note, hey, y'all know Cat Williams ran like a 4.9.
I seen it. Fastest man I've ever seen.
Fastest 50-year-old I know. Shout out to Mo Wells, Shreveport's very young out there doing the thing with Cat Williams. And like I said, somebody put sometime on the screen. I said, I don't care what they say. Mo and them say 4-9. We rolling with 4-9. That's what I'm rocking with. I'm with Cat. Did you see? And this is a topic that I just thought about the top of the head. Did you watch Cat Williams and Joe Rogan yet?
I seen some clips of it on TikTok, but I didn't actually watch it. But it seemed, from what I seen, it kind of seemed like Joe was like doing a lot of questioning of him. Like he didn't. No.
It's just I don't listen to Joe Rogan that much, but it was just regular conversation. I think Joe's big into like conspiracy theories and stuff. And so Cat's able to hang with him on that because they both know like different things. And I was talking about how that actually bears credence to Cat Williams saying he read all these books, and he broke it down on Joe Rogan. He said, I know people were thinking like I'm over exaggerating when I said I read all these books, but he said, you got to think about this. I think he said he grew up like a Jehovah's Witness, and he said for years he never went to a birthday, he wasn't able to watch TV, he wasn't able to do all this stuff. He said, but 8 hours a day, he had books at his disposal, and he said sometimes he had to get another book to finish another book to finish another book. So he said, within that, I started reading so many books because I was trying to figure out how to understand what I'm reading. So when you go like that, I think you can read that many books. And it shows. He's well versed in like a lot of topics, or as like people say, a myriad of topics. So I think it was pretty cool. This might be my first time listening to that. I like different things because all the rah-rah is fun. And but he said you have a allegiance to losers, so that's not like you. Like all the different meaningful quotes he said. So
you have an unnatural allegiance to losers.
Exactly. That's it. That's what I'm gonna send next time I get a rejection email from a job I apply to. Shout out to Nate. Matter of fact, Nate posted that on LinkedIn. That was funny. So I couldn't take that before he posted it. So I was like, dang, Nate. I know the build a community one was a good one for you. I think that is a good one to talk about. That's something I actually talked about in the podcast episode yesterday. So, how to build a community in the field.
I think this is very important, especially when you're first starting out. And I'm not saying that you need to have 17 friends, but even if one person made the difference for me. Me having one person who was equally as confused as I was, who had some of the same questions, we share some of the same struggles. So, like we still connect, we still talk a lot when it comes to news articles, even just being able to stay in the field with each other, sending each other different videos, news articles, LinkedIn posts, TikToks, anything that you can see that's related, to the industry. Have there been any new regulations put in place? Are you guys talking about, oh, I was struggling with X, Y, and Z. I found this resource. You should check it out. Just having someone to kind of play your ideas off of and to kind of make sure that you guys are immersed together, sharing your struggles, sharing what's happening so that you are able to continue to grow, because we're better together than we are apart. And that's kind of how I see it. But I think it's really important. And you can start with people if you're a student. If you're a student, start with your classmates. You got to do a lot of discussions when you're in school. So, maybe connecting with those individuals on LinkedIn. Maybe you feel comfortable enough sharing your contact information with someone. So if you're struggling, you guys can have a voice call, or if you guys are needing to jump on a meeting and share your screen and talk through some things, or even just explaining things to each other. I think that's important. Also connecting with people who are in the field, whether they are a part of your inner circle or not, but just being immersed in the field, seeing some of the content and the subjects that they're talking about is also important. Connecting with your professors. If you're not a student, then some alternatives can be to join any like social clubs. So any cybersecurity clubs, tech clubs, going to any meetups, even hosting your own. If you have a few people in your area, it doesn't have to be anything major. We're going to go to Applebee's. We're going to talk for an hour about what's going on with us lately. Just making sure that you are staying connected and that you have that support there. So if their network eventually becomes your network, or if they learn something, they can share it out with you. But another benefit that you get from building that community is being able to actually, receive resources from these people. So maybe they send you a job referral, maybe they make an introduction to the hiring manager, maybe they introduce you to someone on the team so you can understand, what that job is like. But there is a ton of benefit of building your community out in the field.
I agree. I know for me, a lot of things that you guys don't see in the back end, I'm doing a lot of work, networking, getting opportunities that I wouldn't get because I built a community. And like you said, it starts with one person. For me, it was a little different because I did most of this new community I built through the pandemic. So most of it's done from this, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, consultations. But I mean, if you're internal and you want to stay somewhere, that's a really good place to do it. Find somebody who's what you want to call these people, a mover and shaker or something that got a good reputation there, that can mentor you, that's connected with everybody else, and get them on your side, and they'll help you. Now, don't be a hindrance. Like, do your thing, but you gotta be visible. You gotta find people that you can learn from. One of the things we were talking about yesterday is how the possibilities, everything open up in your mind once you discover different things based on who you have conversations with. Because a lot of times we're limited based on our own thoughts because we have been exposed to it. And in getting a community, that helps you with that. Especially, you also don't want to have a community where like you're the smartest person. You want all different type of people in that community, and to where everybody can learn something from somebody else. That way everybody's being helpful versus you just wanting to be the smartest person, or nobody's helping nobody. So y'all really just wasting time. That's like some of the
Yeah.
stuff I've seen where people need to get a little bit better with their community. But that's kind of like my 2 cents I wanted to add on that.
I like the idea that you said, to have people essentially on different levels or on a different part of the journey when it comes to working in the field. Because
Mhm.
if especially if you're starting out, if you are, because you spend a lot of time, I spent a lot of time being frustrated because I just didn't understand a lot of things. But finding someone who was also as equally frustrated and who was struggling with the same things made me feel like, okay, it's not just me, and we can do this together, So if I learned something that I know that we were struggling with, I'm gonna share it with you, and I know it's gonna be vice versa.
Agreed. Dang it. So this thing give me what I wanted. All right. 1 second. There we go. So I found I forgot, like, I never sent you like all this stuff. I think I shared some of this stuff with you. But here goes some funny stuff, guys. We're going to talk about it's Twitter. I guess you can call it like Twitter tea or whatever you want to call it. But let's share the screen. And I think this is it. All right, here's the first one we're going to talk about. She says, they fired all them tech people and now them apps just be down. Go hire them back. But it's funny, but I can see how people see it that way. What you think?
I could also see how people see it that way. I mean, things have always been happening in the industry, but a lot has happened since the mass layoffs last year. So I could totally see the correlation from the outside looking in.
Agreed. Let me share this tab. All right, so this is the other one, the fake person right here. I've covered her a while ago. I'm making her famous a little bit, but y'all gotta stop being dumb. If a career coach is talking like this on their page, they're saying stupid stuff. Why would you ever give them money? I have evidence of a person who supported this person, paying them what, 300, 400 bucks. I don't know how much it was, to wait 45 days for a resume LinkedIn turnaround. I was like, that's stupid. She talking about if you have any affinity towards lying, cheating, or anything in the dark arts, you'll be better off channeling it rather than trying to get rid of it completely. Lie on your resume, cheat on the test, not people steal from hotels. Who says stuff like this?
Lie on your resume, lie on your resume, lie on your resume. I am not a subscriber of this at all. I think it's very dumb for you to do, especially once you get into that interview and they start asking you if you put on your resume that you're technical and then they start asking you technical questions and you can't answer them. If you put down that you use all these tools and they start asking you in which scenario would you utilize this, and this, or they start talking about specific features or settings and you can't, I feel like him. Scroll back up. That's how I feel when I read that post. Like, that's literally, yeah. That's please don't lie. Please don't lie. This isn't an industry where you're lying saying you had 6 years of customer experience. Like, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you can be held accountable and responsible for things because you lied.
Mm-hmm. And if you are going to lie, know your lie.
Yeah.
Which
Speak
most
to
of y'all
it.
don't know your lie because y'all just put some stuff down and it don't stick. So this was the last one. I remember I bookmarked this, but it was pretty cool. Let's read the Wall Street Journal thing. He said, now companies are ruthlessly focused on efficiency, and that means managers are charged with reinstituting more biting formal regulations. Good luck getting through that at a time when the very word feedback can be triggering for some. Nearly 4 in 10 employees who received the lowest grades from managers last year had rated themselves as highly valued by the organization, according to data from Bamboo HR, which analyzed almost 2 million assessments for Wall Street Journal. Delivering a reality check to an overconfident underperformer is one of the toughest tasks bosses face because there's no guarantee critics will click. I had somebody who outright told me, I heard your feedback, but I disagreed with it, says Sarah Sensoprano, Associate Director of Client Experience at Movable Inc., a marketing software company. This is going to tie into the other topic we had, but he says an underrated component of the Great Resignation, let me zoom in real quick, also known as the zipper era, are the effects of employees versus employer expectations. Employees were told that they were the best thing since sliced bread, and they were compensated like it by companies just so they can recruit and retain them and win the war of talent. But it's not the employees' fault. You had companies, including very reputable FANGs, drastically increase the headcount by 50% within 2 years. You can't do that without lowering the bar for talent at least a little bit. The math just ain't mathing. What we're seeing now, in my eyes, is not just a correction of companies trying to right-size their orgs for maximum efficiency, but also resetting the bar for the standard of talent. This may also explain why you see certain companies lay people off only to repost similar jobs. Yeah, I agree with what he said. He ate.
He definitely ate that part up.
What y'all be saying? He ate and left no crumbs?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of times too. Like, that's what I said when I said some of y'all, that the clip I went, it didn't really go viral, but a lot of people liked it on TikTok. I was like, some of y'all shouldn't have had them jobs anyway because y'all just got hired to get hired. And people were literally on TikTok and everywhere else saying they weren't doing any work. So, of course, like, a lot of y'all, like, kind of, y'all didn't get in it. Y'all didn't get in and learn how to work hard and learn a job. And so some of y'all are fighting for your life right now. That's exactly what's happening.
Yep.
I hate it for you, but you should have stopped trying to take the easy way in and actually try to be valuable. Because some of y'all are valuable and some of y'all not. That's what I would just say. It's people that I've seen that got in 2020 and they went like this. Some of y'all, that's y'all. That's y'all. For real.
It's
But
for me.
I actually, let me go into this this topic with the Amazon pips, because I think this one actually would fit that perfectly, coming off of that Twitter stuff we just talked about.
Definitely. Right in line.
So this person says, I worked in Amazon HR, was disgusted at what I was seeing in performance improvement plans. Then I got put on the PIP and knew I had to quit. Listen, if you see the PIP, it's time to dip. One more time. If you see the PIP, it's time to dip. Now, I want to see, I'm not going to read everything. So they worked at Amazon HR for 7 years. Dang. And not only did they administer pivots, but it was eventually brought to their attention that they were going to be going through a PIP. They made a mistake of doing that with me there wasn't a lot of information just to justify poor performance. The pivot goal was a straight across the board 6% number. And as an HR person, that is a hefty figure. And it was driven hard by the HR VPs to show the metrics daily, weekly, to make sure we knew who was on the pipeline, not to improve, but who was in the pipeline to get out. There wasn't a lot of interest in improving people. You might be cutting some prime choice with the fat, and they were okay with that. They wanted that number. The managers who had to implement it and tell their people they were on a pivot, I would say majority of them hated it because one, they didn't have the skills to be able to manage performance that soon out of the gate. A lot of our managers were brand new. The first thing you had to do was work with the pivot consultant. So that was somebody in HR besides the manager's business partner. And you talk about if it was the right time or if it's the wrong time to pivot someone. Let's see. I'm trying to just go through here. I would say 80% of my time ended up being focused one way or another on the pivot. Either the pivot appealed or the pivot work that workers managers had to do. And look, I'm not going to say you're going to ever find somewhere locked down their words, but the idea is if you're putting somebody in a pivot, you make that so damn hard that they don't get out.
Man, that's the part right there.
Yeah. Well, what is this? This is interesting. Later, when the pivot came back, we had to stack rank all of our employees the way we broke it down. We called it top tier, which was, maybe 15 to 20% by the time it worked out. Then you had the middle, and then you had the bottom tier. The bottom tier was about 20 to 25%, maybe even up to 30. The guidelines that they expressed publicly may be different because we also worked to make sure that we had more than that because some went bad or went off the rails, and we couldn't exit them for whatever reason. I have PTSD. I was disgusted at what I was seeing from the pivot process. This process alone has given me post-traumatic stress disorder. It impacted me so much as a person that I had to get out of there. When it was justified, it was easy to push someone out. If it's deserved, then there's no problem. But when it wasn't deserved, you had people crying and begging, and they couldn't understand. You have visa-sponsored employees who, once we pivoted them and moved them out, no longer were authorized to work in the United States. So they had to make immediate plans to get out of the country, and it's a long process to get sponsored by another group. In the years I was there, I never, ever, ever had any performance issue given to me, not even anything close to being serious. I had no worries because I asked for feedback all the time. I'm like, what can I do? How can I do better? I didn't ever want to be blindsided by the pivot myself. And what a lot of people did, if they got the indication they were going to draw, if they were going down that track, was what they would transfer jobs right away. Some people were successful, a lot of people weren't. This is a long article.
I feel like you touched on the good points. The one that I would really am frustrated by is the fact that they're receiving criticism about things that they've never been critiqued on before. So it's kind of it's like a slap in the face, especially when you're actively trying to be better and do better. And like this person who wrote this said, like they were constantly asking for feedback. So if you're always asking for feedback and then you're being told that you're performing well, there's nothing more you need to do, and then 2-3 months later you get put on a performance improvement plan, the math isn't mathing, and it feels like a slap in the face, especially for someone who is on a visa. Like that's their life. These people have families, they have kids, they have a lot of it's not right, man. It's not right.
Yeah, that's why you got to move how you need to move for yourself and your family always. Always. I think the biggest thing though, I don't know why they were so shocked because they know HR moves like this. HR is there to protect the company. So a lot of times you very well are missing some critical feedback that you need, but HR is not going to tell you until they give you a bit. And you be like, well, why you ain't tell me ahead of time? That's literally what happened. So you just got to always keep that in mind. Even if you got a quote unquote real manager, sometimes you just got to do your due diligence and make some of your own HR friends, see if they're going to put you on, on game before it's too late.
Can you explain really quickly what stack ranking is for the people who may not know?
I'm as confused as you. I feel like it's an HR term. I will say they just jumbled everybody together.
Yeah, basically where they it's a list, and you're either at the top of the list or you're at the bottom of the list. They're comparing all the employees and basically their performance to say these people are in the top 10%, these people are in the lower 10%. So like you're literally just like you play a game and let's say you're playing a racing game and you're stacked in terms of first, second, third, fourth. That's what stack ranking is.
Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. They just, like I said, they just take numbers and put them down there. I think this is the last part I want to touch on. They said, during my performance evaluation, when it was clear I was on a PIP, my manager shared criticisms. Crazy. I didn't read this yet. I promise I didn't read this yet. Shared criticisms that I never heard before. I said, I've never heard any of these comments come to me ever. Essentially, it was a lot of made up stuff. I mean, you could have put some truth to it. I've been late on a few assignments, but everybody's got some elements of things they can improve on in their work. My manager just chose to bring those out. Amazon broke down people into 3 categories. You were either top tier, middle of the pack, or least effective. Normally, they won't tell you what they rated you. And I'm like, come on. I know this stuff is just as much as you do. I know the wording. You didn't put me in the medium category. We just admit you put me in the least effective category, and I got my manager to admit that. I wasn't put on the pivot. My manager wanted to work with me a little bit to see if I was going to commit to the job. So they sat me down and said I can go on a pivot and leave right away, or they work with me. Well, obviously, not having any job opportunities, I said, look, I'm in it. Let's try to get better and go from there. So my manager took away all my direct reports and shoved me into a small box and said, you could do this and try to work yourself out of it. Right after that, I started putting a full push to get another job. And so I started interviewing. I actually had a headhunter that reached out to me originally. I told her no, but then some of this stuff happened. I'm like, okay, let's revisit it. I got to the point where they offered me a job and I was going to quit, but I had a huge stock investment coming up. So there was no way I was going to rock the boat in that way, shape, or form, just trying to get to this date. That's an interesting thing. I think a lot of people are worried about that when they have some equity in the company and not want to leave.
That part.
There are ways you can negotiate your package to help out with some of that stuff too. So I'm curious to see what they said they did. If you walked away doing a pivot or any time before you had your investment, before it was there for you. So in this time, so we're going to infer that her stuff hadn't invested yet.
Yep, pretty much.
And I'm not talking a little bit of money. I'm talking, I had a couple $100,000 coming to me. So I respect it. Listen, sometimes you got to play the long game. I wonder if she would have chose to leave, but they had just like vested it faster for her and just let her get what was hers. So I played along. I'm good at playing along when I have to be. So then the money is in my account. The next day I called my manager and told him I'm resigning. They blew a gasket. I like that. Listen, absolutely blew a gasket because I told them that I was in it for the long run. I said, look, you gave me no choice. You put this threat against me. I'm not just going to sit there and wait for it to be dependent on you. You get to make the call whether I make it or not. My manager was super mad and asked me when was I leaving. I said 2 weeks. They were incredulous that I wasn't giving them more respect. The biggest thing, and I'm going to say this goes for many, many people that were put on the pivot, is there were no warning signs. There was no trail of communication saying you're underperforming. I mean, even if it's something simple as like, hey, can you do better on this next time? I know suddenly I got zero negative feedback. I got the feedback that I was rocking it. And then all of a sudden to be in this place is like, huh? So that's pretty good because you see that happen.
I like I like the way they wrote that article for sure. It feels very personable.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good article. I just I tried to break it down and I'm glad that you was on here to give me some commentary. Just with the stack ranking thing, I was like, I don't know. Oh guys, I got my Techie Apparel hat. I got to get that link, so y'all make sure y'all go. Shout out to my people, Techie Apparel. But yeah, that was me. I thought I was killing it at McAfee. Walked in, seen my coworker walking out with a box of his stuff. You already know that's not a good sign. I could see, like, if I'm doing hindsight 2020, I could see why he got laid off. Not saying he was a nice guy, but he didn't know anything security wise. Really, a lot of us didn't. He wouldn't speak up in the meetings. He was older than me too. And I was like, yo, do you know what to do outside of looking for WannaCry? He said, no. I said, yeah, that's a problem. And I was only over there with the person who wasn't the manager. And he was just putting me on game like, hey, do this and this. So at that time, I'm over there pretty much building up a spreadsheet of like, hey, man, we got all these rules firing in sim. They don't need to be here. Let's get rid of them. And nobody cared. I was like, ain't this and I should have negotiated my severance and stuff better. But It happens. But once your heart turns cold by a job, nobody's ever the same. No job will ever get
That
the
version of you.
version of you, but also just you just being carefree of thinking like it will never be me. It's similar
Mhm.
to like somebody probably not thinking they like ever get cheated on. It's kind of like that. It's like I could never get cheated on. I think that's it. It's like sometimes you gotta expect it's gonna happen someday, but you just don't know when. It's just better not to find out. That's the only difference about like getting fired and cheated on.
Was this early in your career?
Yeah, this was what 6 years ago. Yeah,
And this is the transparency that you should be looking for from people who are sharing things about it being in the field.
yeah. Matter of fact, around this time in 2018, I still was unemployed, and I thought I was about to go be the SOC lead at Texas Instruments, and then they kind of jerked me around. I actually talked about that on my latest podcast episode with Sinead and her husband Terrence. So y'all make sure to go check that out, especially for people who got like a spouse that's like working in tech. I made that for y'all. But it is what it is. I got to where I was supposed to go. And that's the other part of the journey that people don't understand is like, it's been, let me go solo real quick because y'all will hear this again on the pod that's coming up. So I'm going to tell y'all a little, it's not even a secret, but when it comes to getting into cybersecurity or any job for that matter, sometimes this is right time, right place outside of all the claims of 45 days, 90 days, 180 days, whatever, how many days they want to say. Sometimes it's the right time, right place, and it's your moment. So some of you are almost there and not realizing it's your moment yet, and you're pretty much wanting to give up because you're seeing other people walking their moment. But sometimes you got to be built up to handle what's about to be yours. And when that time comes, it's going to happen, and then you got to embrace it. I talked about my time moving away, moving out here to Dallas, but in my mind saying, hey, I'm going to go get into cybersecurity. Made the sacrifice to leave a company type of party we were having at the office one day for the company I used to work for in Addison, and went to this job fair for Intel McAfee at the time. So that was the decision. I could say, I can't go. I got some work related to do. I said, nah, this might be my way in. And sure enough, that was my way into the company. And then since 2017, I've been in, actually, that was late 2016. And then I started working there in March 2017. But since then, I've been in cyber. So, and that's how it happened for me. One clicking in Shreveport, Bossier. When I moved out here and kind of stuck to my plan and just made a decision to go all the way in, that's how it worked for me. So a lot of y'all, I'll be telling y'all, hey, if you don't have kids, if you don't have a family or something, move where you're at.
Move,
It's gonna be better.
move,
Simple as
move,
that.
move. For
Yeah, we
move,
got a lot of people watching
seriously.
this. Shout out to y'all, man. Hey, put a 1 in the comment section, or put a 1 in the chat if the time messed you over. Because my body was feeling like it was 6 in the morning. I'm like, what is going on?
I want to kind of pivot on what you were saying because I love everything you just said, but I also want people to stop comparing themselves to other people. Pretend like social media is a gift, but it can also be a curse as well. So don't look at what other people are doing and compare yourself to them. Stay focused on what your goals are and knocking your goals down. And also don't be afraid to take risk. Because this is something that isn't just given to you. You aren't just given a job. You have to put in the work, especially if you want to make some good money and you want to live a good life. Like you have to put in it's a lifestyle. It's not just something that you can just learn how to do and that's what you're going to do every single day because it's always changing. So don't compare yourself to other people.
Facts. Comparison is a thief of joy. And when you said it's a lifestyle, I thought about Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug. Too bad we can't play it on the live
Lifestyle.
stream. That's what he said. I put in a whole lot of work just to live this lifestyle.
No, for real.
Mhm.
You know how many tears I've cried?
To then go from the catalyst, I think really was getting in grad school, to be honest. I feel like once
Yeah.
I decided to go to enroll in grad school, like everything started popping off for me the right way. Like it was crazy. But that's also what made it cool. That's what made grad school fun. I had experience in the field and had already had work experience and I was in grad school. So that's what made grad school fun.
Well, it wasn't fun for me, but it was fun afterwards.
But see, I didn't even know that UD had a cyber program by the time I went in. Me and my friends, me Vernon and my friend B Jax, we all went to UD and did. I think those two did MBA, and then I chose the IT management because I was like, IT management is a little bit versatile. Since I already was in cyber, I was like, I could just do that, and I'll be versatile in case I want to do some management type stuff.
If it were available, would you have done it then?
I think so. I think it would have gave me some more tools to the tool belt. A little bit more classes I would have been interested in. But I mean, all the classes I did in tech management were like things I do now. Like we're working on statements of works, working on getting buy-in from the company to get changes put in place. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Did this one not save? I don't think it saved. Let me see. It didn't save. Shoot, I made one about pretty much like, what's the big deal about being technical? And so I know that was one that she wanted to talk about.
Yes. So my thought is being technical really that big of a deal? Is it really that important? And yes and no. You don't have to be technical to work in the field, but I feel like if you do have some technicality to you, then it does put you in a better position when it comes to pivoting. You can pivot a lot easier and do a lot of different things if you are more technical. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to code. When I first started out in the field, I was like, I don't want to do the technical stuff. I want to stay on the business side. And then I got pushed into a role that was very technical. So I didn't have a choice but to get it together and to upskill. So I feel like it's good to have a balance. It's okay if that's not your strongest skill set, but you should still be able to understand some concepts, to have conversations, and things should still make sense to you from a technical perspective so that, again, you can pivot a lot better. Because one thing about the field and working in the industry is a lot of the times you are going to have to pivot. And if you have that, not necessarily technical background, but if you have that technical understanding, then it will make that pivot for you a lot more feasible, as opposed to you completely being against being technical. And if you are required to pivot, then that can feel like the end of the world for you. So I think it's important to have some components, and you can decide, what you want to focus in on and what technical, bits and pieces that you want to add to your skill set. But I do truly believe, especially as time goes on and technology continues to advance, that the people who are not technical eventually will kind of get pushed to the back, because they want people who can do both. They want people who can have technical conversations and the strategic business conversations. So that is my take on it.
No, you ate. I think, you know what? I'm not too concerned with it. Let me get back on screen. I don't really care. I think everybody got their space. Like, listen, I don't need you to be super technical if you work in HR. I just need you to make sure my policy is good and that offer letter look right. I don't need all the other stuff. I need you, when you work help desk, I need you to understand how to verify people, and if they aren't verified correctly, how to verify them another way. That's what I need you to do. So I don't need like you're the smartest person. I don't like whatever your lane is, stay in it. Like, we don't need the old lineman knowing how to throw a tight spiral. We just need you to know how to pass block and run protect. We don't need the QB knowing how to block. So I'm just saying, know your place, fam. That's all I'm saying. And if you go with that, if you stay in your lane, you won't get hit because there won't be no traffic in it. So that's all I'll let you know. And okay, this is a good one. So we should be able to watch this. Let me open this up real quick. So there's been contention online. All right, there's been contentions online about people recording themselves getting fired and laid off and everything else. So we're gonna react to Ton Dog talking about people should stop recording themselves getting fired. And for you guys that don't know who Ton Dog is Anton Daniels, Detroit's finest. And I have not watched the video. I don't know if Destiny got a chance to watch the video, but I haven't watched it. I literally just saw it in, I think, that IT group on Facebook. And that's when I decided to like share it with her. Let's say, let's talk about it. So let's see what he's talking about and we'll kind of react to it. Let's go from there.
One of the things that we like to ask ourselves a lot of times is why are tech companies laying off despite the fact that it seems like we still have a humming economy. They are really, really profitable. Everything is going on. Why are tech companies still laying off? Okay, so let's get into that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Get into the bag chasers. Okay, get into the bag chasers. We got Stock Club popping off this weekend. It's gonna be lit. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get to it. Y'all said y'all can't wait to see the finished product. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hopefully they finish before the end of this segment. Let's go.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Thanks for meeting with me and Rosie. We have an important meeting.
I had to pause it so I can go ahead and not let it be like copyright crap. But I think everybody's seen this video, but I want to see what CNBC's take's going to be on it.
Today, we finished our evaluations of 2023 performance. This is where you have not met Cloudflare expectations for performance. We've decided to part ways with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there.
This is a viral video posted by Brittany Peach, a former employee of Cloudflare, a San Francisco-based tech company. The video posted on January 2024 and got so much attention that it may have kicked off a new subgenre of viral video. Watch this person get laid off in real time. The tech industry is again seeing widespread layoffs after a rough 2023.
LinkedIn just laid off nearly 700 employees. Qualcomm is planning to cut more than 1,200 jobs. Google, Amazon, and Snap are among the companies continuing to downsize.
And the start of 2024 seems no different as layoff announcements, especially in the tech industry, continue to make headlines.
Units affected, they also include hardware, engineering.
So he said that too, but the funny thing is that the video of the chick, she was like, "Oh, stop right there. I ain't never heard that before." Like she was talking about, I ain't never heard this stuff. Y'all said I was doing good. So that's just also being credence to what we were reading in the Amazon PIP thing earlier on. Let's skip right here, maybe something to see what she's gonna say.
So far, last night, CEO Sundar Pichai told his workforce to expect more cuts. An Amazon spokesperson did confirm those layoffs ahead of Prime and Prime Video, and MGM saying in that memo that the company is making some of the cuts to prioritize investments for the long term.
Layoffs are also plaguing industries like healthcare, banking, and media. However, the tech industry is the one that's been dominating the headlines.
This layoff and everything that's happened in tech, I think is pretty eye-opening. You know, like you can have your dream job, you can have your, oh, it's my dream to work for Microsoft, or it's my dream to work for AWS. And you get there and you realize, okay, it's just like any other job. It's a great place to be. There's a lot of great perks, but at the end of the day, they can get rid of you like that.
The layoffs to the start of 2024 signal a dramatic shift in the tech industry. We're going to continue to see layoffs happen as the future of work has changed, as the future of technology has changed, and as investors' appetite for risk and growth versus profitability has dramatically changed as well.
So why are big tech companies and other industries laying off tens of thousands?
So I said, everybody go through the same thing in their career. You get laid off. The funny thing is, though, even going through a Cloudflare interview process, I've been through that a couple of times. They'll tell you, "Oh, we've never had to do layoffs. We haven't laid anybody off since the pandemic." And right after that, start laying people off. So I thought that was hilarious. But I think, like, before we get more into the video, I do think she shouldn't have posted it, only because I don't, like I said, I don't know on the back end how would that affect money that she might have been getting from a company for a severance or a bonus payout or something. However, if she was already maybe monetized or something on TikTok, she probably made more money from that than what she's gonna get from the severance. So I see the play both ways.
I don't think she should have did it, but I'll share my thoughts until the end.
Hold on. I want to read this comment real quick. My guy, Keep It Techie, also responded to Coding Phase video on cybersecurity. Coding Phase responded, said he is cool with Tech G and Keep It Techie and doesn't mean harm, doesn't want smoke. I wouldn't give nobody smoke from it because I don't really care that much. He was just expressing his opinion since he did work in help desk. Like you said earlier, Destiny, it wasn't exciting to him, but he worked help desk though. But that's the thing though. He can't talk about something he
never did.
But technically there are elements of cyber in help desk, but it's not the same thing. Like, unless you just get like a widespread like outage on the help desk and everybody's scrambling. Like I've had some fun stuff like that happen on help desk, but it's just not the same thing. And it can be draining because it's mundane. It's pretty much the same thing. You're not learning much. So I can see why you want to pivot from help desk, and you're not getting paid that much either. So I definitely can understand why he felt like that. But if he's never did anything in any of the domains of cyber, he's not qualified to make that. Just like I'm not going to say, oh, you want to code? Man, coding trash. We done with coding. Big trash. Like if I wanted to say that, you know what I'm saying? I can't say that.
Yeah, me neither. That's not my flavor.
Shout out to Peak Town for it, man. Hey, yo, reaction. Stop stealing Peak Town videos, man. We done with these. Let's get back into the video.
Of workers at a time when the U.S. economy looks strong on paper.
I always advise people never to become interdependent on it just because you may get your dream job. A lot of people dream of, oh man, I want to work at Microsoft or Amazon or whatever and all of this stuff. And you get there and then you adjust your lifestyle to reflect it. In reality, that doesn't mean that you need to become interdependent on it. Listen, a title that you get from a job, that's there to make you feel good about yourself. I don't care anything about that. I was on a coaching call with somebody and somebody was asking me a question and they was like, Anton, when you got to this part of your life, or, you know, how did it feel to become this thing or to become that thing or whatever, and to be able to add this into your resume or add this to your LinkedIn? And if you want the honest to God truth, it doesn't feel like anything to me because I'm not impressed by titles. I am impressed by money. See, a job is just a means or another way for you to actually source income. And we got to change our mindset behind that. It's not about the company that you work at, is whether or not you're leveraging the fact that you work at that company to get the maximum amount of benefits out of it. I don't care about senior VP or, you know, getting into the C-suite. I care about the equity positions that come along with it. I care about the money. I care about the resources. So the minute that y'all stop pedestalizing these companies and y'all start thinking differently about what success looks like, you'll have different results. I don't care about the title. I only care about the money.
Listen, that's big facts, as my fellow Aries brother just stated. That's big facts. That's me. And the reason why I would say that is because I've been in companies who feel like I'm supposed to care that I'm working for them because of their name and their legacy. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm looking out for me. And if whatever you're not paying me isn't helping me and my family out like I needed to, I'm going to make my own decisions and make my own moves to take care of us first and foremost. Because y'all care about y'all bottom line, I care about my bottom line. Just like you was talking about the equity come with it. You know, I work with some finance companies that have prestige, but yeah, I ain't no equity in the company. So why I care that much about y'all? Why?
I think it's important not to fetishize. Say it, please. Fetishize. Is it, however you say it. I think it's important not to do that for the company that you work for, because I agree with everything that he said. You also have to remember you are still a number, you know, at the end of the day. Exactly. If they decide, oh, we're doing away with that role, there's nothing you can do about it. If you just made your brand being that you're, you know, Miss Google X, Y, and Z, whatever your role may be, then how are you going to pivot? What have you been doing? What time have you been putting in? What work have you been putting in that wasn't solely tied to that company? You know, why would somebody else want you if you just have a fetish with that company? You don't have a fetish about the role. You don't have a fetish about the skill set. You don't have a fetish about the knowledge. You have a fetish about working at that company.
Well, just don't keep it a bean. Just listen, like focuses on the money and making sure you're making the right plays to stay marketable and not get sucked into all that. Hey, listen. What she should have did was, before uploading that, matter of fact, she probably still can. If I'm you, hey, if that ever happened to you, just go to their competitor. They'll be glad to take you and pay you more money. And keep on doing it until you run up the bag.
I thought it was a poor idea for her to post it because she hadn't secured another job yet. Now, if she waited and, you know, got another job, you just don't want to have your name out here in the streets with a negative connotation. I wouldn't want to hire her, you know, if I was a company, because I would feel like, okay, can we trust you, essentially, you know? And obviously she was getting laid off. It was a different situation and scenario. But again, still, you just don't want to have that negative connotation behind your name. You don't want that to prevent you from getting to another bag, essentially.
I wouldn't care like too much. I would have asked the question, okay, hey, what made you post this? Like, what were you going through? Or like, did you get some money out of it? Like what? Because I can understand, like, if that's the reason why she did it. And if she did do it for that reason, I'm not going to judge her for it. I'm like, look, we all do our things to get our own bread on the side if work ain't making it, ends meet. So I don't really deal in that. Like, I get it. If you want to talk about maybe like some insider risk stuff, which could potentially be done if you're recording the wrong thing, because that's another question. That's another topic we should write down.
Yeah.
Some companies will have you say, hey, when we're having conference calls, whatever, please unplug your Alexa and all this other stuff, so it's not listening to us. I just thought about that as I was talking, but yeah, I probably would have asked her something like that just to get her temp and see where she's at, and see what she said. And if she gave me a good enough answer, I'm cool with it. She young, she's trying to make money. She was hurt, and I think this is a big one too. I could be in my way and say I wouldn't hire her, but I think you also got to understand these new kids. They were born in a
social media age,
social media attention time. That's normal for them.
I'm not mad though, because they're exposing what's happening in the industry, which may have not otherwise been exposed, without the use of social media. So I can appreciate her saying, well, stop. What are you talking about? You never said, y'all never told me I've been performing poorly from that perspective as well. I'm just very careful in that. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it personally, but I see why. I never considered what you talked like from a financial perspective. If she has a large following, whatever, being able to receive income from the video. So I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, nah, I agree. So I'll probably link that video. Let me put the link to that video if y'all want to check out the rest of
I'm looking at some comments.
It's a lot of comments. We'll probably share them at the end. There we go. So if y'all want to,
someone said, when I originally seen the video, I was thinking the same rules don't apply to us. She can post it and minimal backlash due to what she looks like.
Oh no, I agree. She got the complexion for protection. Yeah. But that's why I'm also like, if I'm going to do something stupid, I'm gonna make sure I get a benefit out of it. So that's why I'm thinking that's what happened. Now, hey, Whipping Bricks, he got to stand on business. Like, stand on business with what you say. It's okay if you feel like that. Like, ain't nobody finna like go check you like in person. Like, what you said about cybersecurity, it ain't that
exactly. Yeah, I don't think he should have. I don't think he should have privated them, because it's more room for conversation to occur.
Right. Like, I think you lose some credibility with your audience, private in videos. So unless it's like, I've had to private some, but it's not because of that. It's because of people's livelihoods was at stake. That's about the only time I had to do that. Let me get to this, because we covered this 2 weeks ago. Let's talk about it now. As Change Healthcare Outage drags on, fear grows that the patient data could spill online. Now, if you guys are not aware, Change Healthcare was hacked a couple of weeks ago, and I believe they paid. Let's see. I believe they paid the ransom, but they're going
22 milli, a milli. Yeah.
So hospitals have been unable to check insurance benefits of inpatient stays, handle the prior authorizations needed for patient procedures and surgeries, or process billing that pays for medical services. Pharmacies have struggled. There we go. What just happened? There we go. I just clicked on something by accident. Since Change Healthcare shut down its network suddenly on February 21st in an effort to contain the digital intruders, some smaller healthcare providers and pharmacies are warning of crashing cash reserves as they struggle to pay their bills and staff without the steady flow and reimbursements. So let's circle this all the way back to what you were talking about earlier. You know how the dude was talking about the security assessments?
Yep.
Well, if you get a security assessment, you will find out it would have been much cheaper to spend that $100,000 for whatever you have to spend to now pharmacies are not having the money that they need to do what they need to do. I'm just saying.
I know someone who works for one of the companies that was affected, and every day they were told, it'll be up tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. And it was not up tomorrow. It was days and days and days and days.
I can believe it. Change Healthcare's parent company, UnitedHealth Group, said in filing with government regulators on Friday that the health tech company was making substantial progress in restoring its affected systems. As the near-term impact of the ongoing outages of patients and providers becomes clear, questions remains about the security of millions of people's highly sensitive medical information handled by Change Healthcare. And that's why it's so critical to protect healthcare, because imagine somebody hack in and either you got a serious illness and they change it to say you don't have it anymore. So now in the system, you're not going to get your medicine or something. Or them people start saying you got something you don't have. Like, we just thinking about they stole the stuff, but let's go into they start tampering with the data and actually doing real harm with it.
Yeah, and maybe it's something. Maybe you on some medication that's life or death.
Yeah.
And now you can't get it.
And
And
Russia,
true.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say the same friend that I have also said that when the systems came back online, everything was incorrect. So yeah.
That sucks for them, especially have backups. From Russia, a prolific ransomware gang takes credit for the cyber attack on Change Healthcare, claiming without yet publishing evidence that have stolen enormous banks containing millions of patients' private medical data from the health tech giant system. In a new twist, the ransomware gang now appears to have faked its own demise and dropped off the map after receiving a ransom payment worth millions in crypto. I would too. You ain't gonna hear that'll do it. You ain't gotta worry about me. You give me some money, you ain't gonna see me no more. If patient data has been stolen, the ramifications for the affected patients will likely be irreversible and life lasting. Change Healthcare is one of the world's largest facilitators of health and medical data and patient records, handling billions of healthcare transactions annually. Since 2022, the health tech giant has been owned by UnitedHealth Group, the largest health insurance people in the world. Man, there's a lot. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I ain't trying to bore y'all. But let me see if there's something on the end I could touch on real quick. And then, bro, what is going on? Let's get something that's an error. There we go. Let's talk about the ransomware gang real quick, because I'm going to help y'all out. Like I said, if you're entry level trying to go in cyber, they'll ask you about stuff like this. So especially if you are interviewing for a security role in healthcare, you need to talk about this and talk about maybe what you would have did to prevent it. Now, the hackers seem to have disappeared and the unpredictability of the situation. UnitedHealth initially attributed the cyber attack to unspecified government-backed hackers, but later walked back that claim and subsequently pointed the blame at Russia-based ransomware and extortion cybercrime group called ALPHV, also known as Black Cat. Ransomware and extortion groups are financially motivated and typically employ double extortion tactics. First, scrambling the victim's data. There you go. That's why when they got it back, it's not right. First, scrambling the victim data with the file encrypting malware, then swiping the copy for themselves and threatening to publishing the data online if the ransom demand is not paid. On March 3rd, an affiliate of Black Cat, officially a contractor that earns a commission for cyber attacks, they launched using ransomware gangs malware, complaining the posting of cybercrime forum. Let's see. Black Cat's one of the affiliates of their earnings. The affiliate claimed in a post that Black Cat stole 22 million ransom from that Change Healthcare, allegedly paid to decrypt their files to prevent data leaking, as first reported by veteran security watcher databreachers.net. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. The old bait and switch. We getting the money. Y'all did the double work, and we gonna leave y'all out to dry with no Vaseline. That's pretty much what that boiled down to.
Ransomware can be scary.
But this is where cybersecurity is not boring.
Exactly. They're not bored. They're overworked, tired, and probably hiring. Or they will be soon.
Now, I know the funny thing is, the one thing we have not talked about that we should have talked about in the beginning is the Meta outage.
Yes.
So at first people just talking about it's like an outage. Now you got people thinking it's like a cyber attack. So let's read up on it, and then we'll talk about like I guess how people felt when like their stuff was done. I think he was busy that day, and I don't think
I
we knew.
was. I didn't even know until you text me about it. I didn't know because I was busy.
Amid speculation that a cyber attack caused Meta's mega outage, expert reveals what technical issues may have led to the loss of service. So, a hacking group has claimed credit for one of the biggest social media outages in years on Tuesday when millions of accounts went down worldwide on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, Threads, and WhatsApp. The hacktivist group Anonymous claimed it was a cyber attack, but Meta has been tight-lipped on what caused the outage, simply calling it a technical issue. I don't know. Every time you see technical issue, it's some type of incident. Meta's loss of service came soon after the AT&T outage that some speculated was caused by malicious hackers, as well as the UnitedHealth ransomware attack, which ended with the U.S. largest health insurer allegedly paying $22 million. Now they paid it. The cybersecurity expert told DailyMail.com that a cyber attack cannot be ruled out entirely, but said it was more likely either human error from someone at Meta or a technical issue with the company server. I'm inclined to believe right now that it might have been more of human error, because I think Meta would have experienced something like this before. I know they probably like have crazy traffic volumes and attack, volume, but I'm gonna say right now probably just human error or some insider threat stuff. So I mean, I'm gonna just say human error for now. That's because that's crazy, like to take down everything. I don't even know how long it was down for. Let's see what the thing says. Meta does not have social media accounts that update the user of the status of the company's different sites. So many users were left speculating when they got vague error messages. As is often the case in the wake of a cyber attack, multiple hacker groups rush to say they're responsible. Anonymous, for instance, posted an American flag emoji on X along with following message: a cyber attack is happening right now on all American social platforms. The group included a screenshot from the site down director, which tracked users reported outage from websites. But just because they said they did it doesn't mean they did it. In the event, multiple different groups claim responsibility, but experts doubted where they were truly to blame. There's currently nothing but a social post to suggest that this was cyber attack. Jake Moore, global cybersecurity advisor for ESET, said. With limited data and tight lips from Meta, it would be difficult to speculate, although it cannot be ruled out entirely, he added. And then Meta's representation continues to remain vague. I don't know. So normally, how you kind of got to go back, it's legal and you working all this stuff out. Everybody's doing their deep dive investigations. So we're going to find out soon, was it human error or was it actually an incident?
Mm-hmm.
And if it was an incident, that's going to probably have a lot of people scared because they have so many people on those apps. So many people.
And it wasn't just Meta, it was Instagram, WhatsApp, and something, other.
I mean, it was, Meta's the umbrella.
Yeah.
So everything they own. Let's see. This is like a phone book. This has previously been down to domain name service. This is like a phone book for the internet, which converts a web domain to the actual IP address. When the DNS has an overload or some other network issue, it goes down. As the internet grows, these issues become more frequent, especially if not future-proof. There are some clues as to what happened, according to software company Cisco's Thousand Eyes network monitoring blog. Thousand Eyes can confirm that Meta's web servers remain reachable with network paths clear and web servers responding to users. However, users attempting to log in are receiving error messages suggesting the back-end service, such as authentication, as a cause of the issue. So this is, I didn't know this thing was this long. I mean, hey, y'all gonna read this on your own time. Listen, I did not know it was this long. Let me go back to me and Destiny, because I got the screenshot of like what I was trying to do at one point in time during the day, because I think I texted the screenshot to you, and it was, you remember what day that was? I text you.
Let me go back and see.
I probably can just go to our messages and find it, to be honest.
I'm scrolling.
Yeah, I found it. I don't know what day this was, y'all, but y'all probably can see that.
It was on Tuesday.
Yeah. So on Tuesday, y'all see it won't refresh. So that's a crazy thing. That's why now.
How did you feel?
I didn't really care. I was busy. Like through the days, like I will go through and just look through the social media and stuff, but I'm not actively on there for it to affect me that much. So I don't really care. But it's a way that's why we do tell people, hey, you need to, if you got any type of platform or social media, you need to get an email list so you can still reach out to your subscribers versus relying on them. Because I think at one point in time, YouTube was down this week too. Like everything was down. Like so, like I don't know what's going to happen. They might be like doing some political stuff behind the scenes to take our eyes off what's really going on. That conspiracy theory stuff. Let's see. Oh, even being prescribed medication that's meant for your baby can kill you. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think you guys are like we're living like a 2020 Q1 of 2024 has been like a doozy. Every year is like always something. And I think that's the good thing about living. Is always something. But guys, I think we are nearing the end. I think we are pretty much close to the 2-hour mark. And we are going to work to keep on going live with this eventually, maybe weekly, and eventually maybe even where we're in the studio doing it. But like I tell everybody, if y'all want us to go to the studio, y'all need to support the Patreon. You need to support the videos, share them out to everybody. So we don't got to come out of pocket for none of this stuff. And if we do, we're going to put it behind a paywall so only certain people can interact with it. That's what I'm saying. But Destiny, you got anything you want to leave them with before we get out of here?
Nothing crazy or fancy. Happy Sunday to everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful week this next week that's coming up. But that's all I got. And thanks for tuning in, of course. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back.
And I don't got nothing to tell y'all. Look, you had me at resilience. And listen, I got some stuff drop. I got some heat dropping this week. So it's going to Patreon first, for sure. So it's going to Patreon first. Get on the Patreon and show love to the last post. It's really a lot of good gems in there. I have to cut it up so y'all can see. Really, we got some stuff in the episode. It's really deep. But I appreciate y'all for rocking with us this Sunday morning. And until next time, stay textual, and we out. Peace.